Hello and welcome here to the very first episode of TalkFCB live on this YouTube channel. Just a quick update, guys, for those who maybe don't follow me on Twitter. This will be a channel with daily and regular podcasts on FC Barcelona. If you are a fan of another club, though, we will have special edition podcasts. For example, Everton, Man United, Chelsea, anything you like. There will be different podcasts on different things. Just my views, everyone else's views. We have special guests on as well. As we get into it, but we're just going to be talking generally today about Barcelona, the sort of start of the new era, the different signings, the new manager, of course, different formations, and the pre-season and how it's got underway already. So just a few things to start with today, and the first one we're going to go with is Luis Enrique. Now, of course, he's come in. There's been so much talk on Twitter. Everyone seems to love him, and I think it's great. You know, we've got a new manager in. Last season we had Martino, and it wasn't ideal, was it? You know, there was a lot of people who maybe wasn't so sure when he was appointed. I think we were all online Googling him. You know, we didn't know where the hell he'd come from. And, you know, he tried his best, bless him. You know, he did try and do the right things and pick the right players and, you know, do the rotation system. But all in all, it didn't work out. You know, the season is one to be forgotten. So we needed a new manager, and it was always going to be Luis Enrique, I think. I think it was always going to be somebody who'd maybe had a bit of an insight into the club before. Of course, he's got his relations with Barcelona B. He knows a lot of the players in the current squad as well from his time with the youth team, which is obviously very handy. You know, he can see the potential. You know, he can get a general connection with the players, which will help them on the pitch, I would suspect. But then Enrique's come in and he's been very, very aggressive in what he's done. He's come in, he's ruffled up the camp, he's gone into press conferences and he's said, you know, the first thing I'll be looking at is the football. We want to be Barcelona, we want to be playing exciting football, we want to be playing the brand of football we're all used to. And I think that's good. I think, you know, it's really good to see a manager coming in and straight away you know the type of game he's playing. You know the style he's going to adopt, and I think that's really important for a club like Barcelona, for their fans to know exactly where we stand. The second thing he's, you know, put a lot of emphasis on is that he's Luis Enrique. He's not Pep Guardiola. You know, he's not other managers. He's not trying to be Jose Mourinho. He's not doing anything like that. He is Lucho. He is Luis Enrique, and he's going to come in, ruffle up the camp, get all the players on board, on his side, and they're all going to give everything on the pitch. And that's what he's worked on in training. So a lot of training videos and blogs on Barcelona's training sessions. They're currently in St George's Park in Birmingham, in England. And what they're doing is they're doing double training sessions, which basically means they'll come out, they'll do one training session, and they'll come out later on in the day then, and they'll do another one. And what that's doing is getting all the players who are back from the World Cup. There's a few still who aren't back, you know, the likes of Messi, Neymar, the ones who went a bit further in the competition, but it's getting those players very, very fit, very, very used to playing, being aggressive, and of course it's bringing back that magical pressing, which is something that Luis Enrique does want to bring back, and that links with what I'm going to come on to later, which is the formations, which we're going to be playing next season. But Enrique has been very, very vocal in training, saying that he's getting the players to be very, very fit, very, very strong as well. He's got them all running, he's got them all in the gym, and I think what he is going to do is he is going to make big changes, and I think we'll see a sort of different adopted style. And as I say now, we will go on to looking at the different formations, the personnel, and the way he's going to play as well, Luis Enrique, because it is going to be a brand, it is going to be a style which we can relate to, and he's going to bring it back, and hopefully it'll be successful for him. So the formations which we have looked at and we've seen in the likes of Sport, Mundo Deportivo, a 4-3-3, which of course we're all very used to. You know, we're all very used to playing 4-3-3. That happened to Depet, that happened to Martino, Tila Villanova as well. But another formation which I really like is 4-3-1-2, because of course now we have signed Luis Suarez, which again I'll come on to. It's a fact of getting Messi, Neymar, Suarez all in the same lineup, which is a daunting task really for any manager, but it's also a task that you would like. You know, you'd like to have the kind of top-class players to pick from, and it's really good to see that there are players he can pick from, and, you know, the squad is very, very strong this season. I do think we've made some fantastic additions to the squad. The transfer window has been very, very good to us. We've made the right signings at the right prices, and I think we've got a good squad of players to choose from. If he does go with the 4-3-3, that means that Messi could be on the right, which a lot of fans don't agree with, including myself. Personally, I don't think you put the best player in the world on the right-hand side. You know, we're going to need to play Messi in the role that he's familiar with. But I think 4-3-1-2 is a very, very interesting one indeed, because a lot of people are saying it's going to put Messi in a new position. Well, that's not strictly true. Messi at the World Cup sort of played attacking midfield, and we have seen Messi in the last few seasons drop very, very deep. And that's brilliantly, it's fantastic and it's effective, but it doesn't work when you don't have a striker, because when Messi dropped so deep, we were left with nobody up front, nobody to hit, and it just didn't work. Now we've got Suarez, so if Messi can drop deep, draw the defender, pick the ball up deep, and, his playmaking skills are outstanding. Messi is a brilliant, brilliant, brilliant passer of the ball, which is something that people don't usually recognise as easily. So Messi can drop deep. Suarez will be the big striker. He'll be up there. He'll be able to collect the ball. He's got a fantastic first touch. He's very, very good with the ball. And then you've got Neymar, who does play better when he's central. There's no doubt about that. You watch him for Brazil. He may start on the left-hand side, but he's got that allowance to come inside. Scolari at the World Cup, let him come inside, let him play a more central role, and that is where he's most effective. We've seen him against Celtic last season, against Villarreal, against Celta Vigo, coming inside, and he was very, very effective when he was in a more central role. So, if you play Suarez and Neymar up top, very, very quick, very, very pacey, very, very good with the ball, and then you've got Messi just behind. You can still score goals, you can still get in the box, but what he can also do is drop deep, pick up the ball, and use it, and, play make, and everything like that, and it'll all come brilliant. Now, the midfield, though, is something that which does lead to a lot of debate. Do we play now with two defensive midfielders, or do we play with Rakitic and Iniesta and Busquets? Because after the World Cup, another big problem Enrique has is fitting Mascherano into the team. He's not going to play centre-back, that is absolutely certain. Javier Mascherano next season will not be played as a centre-back. Luis Enrique spoke to him this summer and he said, Javier, you know what, we're going to keep you on, we want to play you, and I'm going to play you, and I'm going to give you a chance in your defensive midfield role. Which is exactly what he should have done. That's exactly what I would have done. Mascherano, we saw with Argentina at the World Cup, is an outstanding defensive midfielder. He is brilliant with the ball, he's brilliant in the tackle, his anticipation is fantastic. We've seen at centre-back, his reading of the game is outstanding. So what we need to do is get him and Busquets into the team. Now the one way you can do that was with the famous double pivot. It was attempted a few times last season by Tata Martino with Alex Song. Less said about Alex Song, the better, in my opinion. But you could put Busquets, you could put Mascherano, and you could put Iniesta in the midfield. Then you have the problem of leaving out Rakitic, leaving out Xavi, leaving out Rafinha. And that's what it's going to be this season. We will see a lot of different combinations. We won't have a starting 11 that we can count on every week. There will always be changes. There will always be players pushing each other, to really make the first 11. They'll be really, really trying hard to put in the performances. And they will know that if they don't perform, and if they don't perform at the standard that's required, they'll be dropped. And it's that simple. And that is our biggest gift this season. It's not the signing of Suarez. It's not the brilliance of Messi, it's not Neymar. The best thing about this season coming up is that every player in that squad will have to work their socks off. Every match will have to play at the highest level that they can in order to keep their place in the side. Because at every position, we've got competition. Except centre-back, which is a big problem. But hopefully we will sign another centre-back in this window. We're waiting and waiting. Marquinhos, Agger, Vermaelen, Hummels. There's so many names going round and round and round. I'm not going to even talk about it, because when you talk about it as a Barca fan, we've only got Machu. He is a good centre-back. He's not incredible. We do need another one. We haven't signed one. So let's just leave it there for now. I'm not going to go too much into that before we all get quite depressive. But yeah, there's a lot of competition in the squad. There's defensive midfielders who will be competing. There's attacking midfielders. There's central midfielders. We've got good competition for the strikers and the wingers as well. If you do play with wingers, you've got Pedro on the bench. You've got Deulofeu. We don't know if he'll be loaned back to Everton. There's a few rumours circling around yesterday, but if it was up to me, I would say that he would be staying, and I do believe that he will stay with us. And apparently there's a lot of talk that maybe Adama Traore or Munir El Haddadi will be promoted, because obviously we're going to start the season Suarez banned for 4 months, which we know about. unless, of course, the Court of Arbitration does retract the ban, which, to be honest, looks unlikely. I don't really see that happening. Of course, though, he is back for the Clásico on the 26th of October. Suarez' ban coincidentally ends on the 25th. Let's hope they don't put it back due to TV purposes and all that. But yeah, I mean, we're going to be starting the season with possibly Pedro, Deulofeu and Messi. It's going to be interesting to see what formation. What he could do, of course, is start with 4-3-3. Then he can change. We've heard a little bit about 3 at the back, although I don't really see Enrique going down that road. But there's a lot of things he can do, and that's the beauty of it this season. We've got the players where we can adopt our formation, we can adopt our style, and we can play a few different games, and that's good to see. So the next thing I'm going to talk about is signings, and 2 in particular. I'm going to talk about Suarez, and I'm going to talk about Jeremy Mathieu, and I'm also going to talk about the sale of Alexis Sanchez, which they've all been pretty well covered. I think we'll start with the first one to happen, which was Alexis Sanchez being sold and Luis Suarez coming in. So what happened was, in the summer, Luis Enrique said to Bartomeu, the president, he said, "I want a striker." Which is fair enough, because I think everyone recognised the fact that we did need a striker. And I think at the start of the summer, we were all under the illusion that probably the striker would be Sergio Aguero. We did approach Aguero, apparently. Man City were never going to sell him. They've got the money. They don't need the money, so they're never going to sell him. So I don't think Suarez is a second option, but I think Enrique then said, "Get me Suarez at all costs. That's the man I want. That's the striker we need. Get him." So I think Barcelona then went out and paid, Spanish press are reporting at 63, 64 million. English press reporting at about 75 million. So the proper fee is probably about 70 million, 68 million, probably a bit in between those two. Either way, it's a lot of money. It's a lot of money for a 27-year-old, but I think it's the right price. I think you look at the current market, you look at what players they're going for. We've got a player here who scored 31 goals last season, the Premier League's most important player. He won every individual award there was to be won last season in the Premier League. And he is a proven goal scorer, and he is world class. So I think what we've paid for Suarez is justified. He's a fantastic player. He's not going to bite anyone again. He's not going to. It's simple as that. We've already told him. He knows now. He's done it 3 times. He will not do it again. He's not stupid enough to do it again. I hope not, and I do believe that he's not. So let's leave it there. He'll be back after 4 months, which will give him, a little bit of time then to settle in before Christmas, and he will be sharp then for the second half of the season, which is evidently the most important part of the season. But Suarez will be a good addition. I do believe that. I think he'll settle in well. I think he'll link up well with Messi and Neymar, and I do think he'll score a lot of goals next season. As for Sanchez, that's a more difficult point, because I think we all really, really fell in love with Alexis Sanchez last season. I think he was arguably our best player of the campaign. A couple of really, really world-class goals. I remember his hat-trick against Elche, of course the iconic goal in El Clásico, and of course the even better goal, the volley against Atletico Madrid on the last day of the season. That man is world-class. You saw at the World Cup as well for Chile. He can turn a game, at the click of his fingers. He is a match winner. And you pay a lot of money for that. And I think Arsenal have got him pretty cheap. I think 30 to 35 million is the reported fee. Personally, I think he's worth about 40 odd million. He'll do well for Arsenal. If you're an Arsenal fan listening in, he'll do really, really well for you. He's a player who's got extreme pace. Personally, I don't think he will be played down the middle. I think he'll be played in a wider area or just behind the striker. He'll be used as a sort of advanced midfield player. He could play as a striker. It has been known to happen, but I think Alexis is better playing off someone. But he's got extreme pace. He's become a better and better finisher over the years as well. He's getting more and more goals to his game. And he's ever improving. He's still pretty young. He's still got a lot to learn. And he's a great signing for Arsenal and can really propel them on next season. And for us, I think, we didn't have to sell him, but I'm pretty glad we did, because I'd hate to see a player as good as he is sitting on the bench, because I think that's what would have happened. We're going to be doing that with Pedro this season, who hasn't been on as good as former Sanchez. So I think Pedro on the bench is a bit more easy on the conscience. But I think certainly Alexis will go to Arsenal, will go to the Premier League and do really, really well. And I hope he does, because I think he's a great player and he's a great guy. So that's those two. Then we talk about Jeremy Mathieu, who has been signed from Valencia around 15 million for a 30-year-old centre-back. Now, you can tell we're desperate. I mean, people are thinking, why are they spending that sort of money? You know, are you mad? Well, no, we're not mad, but we are very, very desperate. That's the bottom line here. We are extremely desperate for a centre-back. And I do like the look of Machu. I do think that he will be a good signing. I think he's got experience in La Liga. We've seen that with Valencia over the last few seasons. He's extremely tall at 6'4". He's good in the air, but he's also got quite a bit of pace. You know, it's surprising, somebody that tall getting on as well. But he is pretty pacey, which is good for a centre-back, which we do lack in the centre-back position. He's a threat from corners. Hopefully he can defend corners as well. So I think for 15 million, it is too expensive. Of course it is, but we needed a centre back, and we've got one. So we can either sit here moaning about the fee or get on with what could be a very, very good signing. He'll do well for us in the league. I just believe that in order to excel in the Champions League and in the really, really big, high pressure matches, we do need to spend a lot of money on a centre half, whether it be Hummels, whether it be Marquinhos. We've heard about Thomas Vermaelen, Daniel Agger. That's not really the route we want to be going down. We really want that sort of top-class, high-quality centre-half who is proven at the top European level. So hopefully in the next few weeks we can see one of those come in. Hopefully we can. So that's the formation, that's the signings, that's the manager. So the pre-season is underway. We played Recreativo and won 1-0. Dani Nieto getting a goal. Interesting game. Pretty decent game from us. A lot of the youngsters got a run out. A lot of the players who probably won't be starting next season. A lot of the B players got a chance. One player who really, really impressed, and one player who will continue to impress in the next few years as well, is Alen Halilovic, and he was outstanding. What he did was, he just got the ball, and it looked as though he'd been at Barca for years. It really did. It looked like he'd been there, he knew his surroundings, he knew his teammates, and he looked so comfortable on the ball. It was really, really pleasing to see that a player can get that much confidence. A young player coming onto the scene at Barcelona, wasn't fazed by any pressure of coming in, and he played really, really well. He had a fantastic first half. And I'm really excited to see him next season in the B team, because I think he'll only be there for a year. I think next season we'll be looking at Alen Halilovic in the first team, and then we can expect really big things from him, because he's a huge talent. And that is one of the signings of the season, by the way. 2 million euros, 3 million euros, something along those lines. What a bargain that was. So yeah, I mean, the pre-season started pretty well. We don't have too many pre-season games. We don't have a pre-season tour like most clubs. We're not really straying outside of Europe, which is good, because we don't have any air miles. We're not jet lagged. We're not sending the players here, there, and everywhere. They're coming back after the World Cup. We're just keeping them training, keeping them steady, not overdoing it. A lot of the players are back now. The only players who aren't back from the World Cup at the moment is Neymar, who's still recovering from his back injury. He's going to be coming back on about August the 5th for the final stage of his recovery, and it's expected that he will just about make the first match of the season, although I'm not sure we'll see him starting that match. Messi is not back either. Mascherano as well, he's not back. Apart from that, though, everyone has returned. Dani Alves, another one, of course, with Brazil. He's still on holiday. Apart from that, though, everyone's back. Everyone's training. Claudio Bravo's in training. Even Rakitic. So yeah, everyone's back, ready, looking to start the season strongly. And they'll all be in the pre-season matches now. We got the John Gamper coming up. We got friendlies against Nice and Helsinki. And people like that. Check, the fixtures coming up. But we haven't got a pre-season friendly for a few days now. We seem to have a bigger gap than anyone else. I'm actually quite, gutted that we're not seeing more of the Barca youngsters. But, that's that. So yeah, that's the 4 topics we've covered in today's podcast. This is the first podcast, so it's not maybe as long as some of the next ones will be. But this might be the right length for you guys. You can tell me, what is the good length for a video? How long do you want it to be? How much do you want me to talk about? Don't forget to tweet me at Neymar. Next podcast will be anytime now in the next few days. All you got to do, if you want something mentioned, tweet me and I'll put it in the next podcast. Anything specific you want to talk about, all you got to do is tell me and I'll put it in there for you guys. Be really great if you could leave this a like. If you can subscribe, of course, to the new TalkFCB channel. There'll be more things on here as the days go on. We're just getting started on here, but this is the first podcast. I really hope you enjoyed it. Anything that you've got any views on at all, comment down below, and I'm sure there'll be Barca fans who'll get involved with you and get your opinions down there. But it's been great. Looking forward to a new season, looking at the new things coming from Barcelona, and it does look really promising for us. It's good to get excited, and I think we're all getting a bit excited now. So thanks for watching as always. Please like, comment, and subscribe as always, and see you in the next podcast.